How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episode review. Today's episode is, of course, Season 2, Episode 6, entitled, I Don't Want to Die. Before I go any further, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more videos such as this one. That's a heavy title, ain't it? It just kind of reminds you that this technically isn't for children. All animation is not for kids, but boy, oh boy, this one and this title is definitely not. So let's talk about Rudy's daily life, because now Rudy is at the Renoan University of Magic. He's met Fitz, who he still doesn't realize is Sylphie. He's met his cousin Luke, who he doesn't realize that he knows that is also Sylphie. And it's time for him to start his daily life. Also, Ella Nalise is there. She's, there so she doesn't die from her curse that makes her have to have sex every day, all the time. Not even a joke there. So his daily life is thus, and I got some notes here on my phone as well. His daily life is, he wakes up early. Remember when he was in the other place, the frozen place, and he wake up and go running and stuff? Still does that, does his sword training, and he studies a bit. And we also see Fitz running in the background. And Fitz is running pretty early too. Wonder what inspired him. Not him, it's she. From here on out, I'm gonna call Fitz she, because we know Fitz is Sylphie. We knew this from episode 0. So when he gets back to his room, he does some magic drills. We see him, doing formation of some figures. He has 3 figures. He also has Zanoba begging him to teach him how to make figures the way he does. And he has breakfast with Zanoba, breakfast and lunch. He likes the food. The food is like modern Japanese food-ish, but it's not as great as it, but it holds his taste. We do see, and Elenice's daily routine is, during the day, she's having quality school time. We literally see her fill up one of the young male students, and at night she's about the town. And Rudy's like, man, that's really tough to have to keep doing that day in and day out, but she does it, and that's their daily lives right there. And so, easing on into talking about his daily life, he does spend, when he's not in classes, he is spending time researching about the teleportation incident. Now, he is taking classes on basic divine magic, healing magic, and, oh my goodness, what's that? Barrier magic. Now, Roxy did teach him a little bit about barriers, but he realized he didn't know the basics, so he doesn't mind starting from the bottom, right? Now, he's gone through tons of books about teleportation, and what we learn is apparently teleportation is taboo. I can probably understand that, because if you could teleport into any country, you could either try to take over the country, or you would be in hostile territory and probably get yourself and anybody else with you killed. Or if teleportation is kind of like freaky future stuff, if you teleport just half of yourself and you leave half your body behind. Although, based on what I know about the future, teleportation is very key here. So don't forget it. And when I mean don't forget it, try to remember it when seasons 3, 4, 5, and 6 come out. And so, as he's learning about teleportation, Fitz comes in. Of course, she comes in. She asks if she can sit there. He's happy to have her sit beside him. Still doesn't realize it's a he. And the only thing he's been able to learn is from the book Fitz has suggested, Exploring the Teleportating Labyrinth. And also on the side, he issued his unfettered Shogun of the Night is still crashing. So yeah, he's still having issues there. And he actually made a Shogun. But anyway, he is learning with Fitz, and Fitz is asked about the research, and apparently Fitz has a book on teleportation. Fitz says there was somebody that she was looking for her master, who taught her how to do all of the incantationless spells. But she's like, I know where he is now, so I'm okay. It's so funny, because she's talking about him. She was looking for Rudy, and she has Rudy, so Rudy is now here. One thing I did want to note is the intro. I already put the intro in the description of my last review. But the intro is so nice, not just because of the song and the visuals, but well, the visuals is the thing I want to focus on. When he's in that classroom, we get, I don't want to call them screenshots, but we get screenshots more or less of all the different eyes of the different characters that he has encountered. The one that catches me most strikingly is right behind him, the Eye of Orsted, the dragon god. Like, it's nice because it's as if he's sitting here trying to get himself together while the world is technically watching him. Also, the young lady that's in the bed in the intro left very ambiguous to figure out who it is or whom it is. I like that. And there's a cup of wine on the floor. Just bringing some things to y'all attention so y'all know where this is going. But as I sit and talk about this research, she makes a suggestion that maybe she could help him, and he's like, I would love it if you help me with this whole teleportation research thing. And so he reaches out his hand to shake. Still, you get the gist, not realizing. And when he shakes the hand, and he kind of looks at his hand because he liked the feel of her hand, and he goes, I don't swing that way. I'm not in the dudes, right? Bro, it's cute, it's funny, but it's so incredibly dumb. He's literally falling in love with her all over again. Technically his second love, his childhood love. First love was Roxy, but say his childhood love. He's falling in love with her again and doesn't realize it. And so he says he's getting close to her, and he asks a bunch of questions. Um, One about, where she learned the magic. He's like, man, he hopes to meet her master one day. She's like, I don't think that's possible. And the whole smile, because you're the one who taught her how to do that. He taught her how to do incantationless magic. And his heart comes all a flutter when he sees Fitz smile. He's like, I'm straight, right? Because man, I enjoy being around Fitz so much, and it just feels natural to talk to you. Because he heard the Silent Fitz is hard to speak to, doesn't really say a lot of words. And she's like, oh, well, I'm shy. You always start conversations with me, he thinks. So I'm hoping that Rudy accidentally, on purpose, finds out that it's her sooner than later. Get at least give me episode 8 where he starts going, I wonder. Because he asked about the sunglasses, which apparently in this world, you still don't know what sunglasses are, even though you have them. He was like, so why you wear the sunglasses? Oh, these. I can't tell you that. She wears the sunglasses because she has red eyes, and she doesn't want to be persecuted as a person that's of Ruger's race. Remember the ones that everybody think that people with the green hair, they're nothing but crazy brutes, and that was a lie that spread by the king who stays up in that giant castle, continent in the sky, and they got betrayed. That old chestnut. But yes. And so where this plot and the Zanoba plot are going to intersect, because Zanoba wants him to teach him how to do the thing, but it's hard, right? Rudy can make these figures, like, if anybody knows anything about art, when you're trying to study poses, there are figures, like doll figures, that you can adjust and make them do poses. He could just make that out of thin air. And he said to Zanoba, all right, my training's going to be strict. And he's trying to teach Zanoba how to do this, but Zanoba keeps passing out. It's very funny. Every time he passes out, Rudy just kind of reads a book. And he says, okay, we'll try to do it the regular way. He makes the clay, but he tries to sculpt it by hand. Dude can't do that either because of his immensely crazy strength. Like, he broke the sculpting thing on accident, not even trying to, just being frustrated. Rudy saying, I'm sorry. No, you have skill, I have none. And so when he brings it up to Fitz, like, what should I do? Well, Fitz heard that a royal person from the same place that Zanoba is from got a slave to do all of that stuff in order to help them. Which I'm going to bring up some issues about slavery in a minute. I will. So Rudy's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And in a very cute way, Fitz gets invited because he's like, oh, because Fitz goes, yeah, well, I'm off next month as well, and okay, come with us. So they go to the slave market, which that's a thing in this place, a slave market. Tons of slaves everywhere, including warriors. And I guess when you see a warrior woman with purple hair and giant breasts, there's a warrior dude and a giant dong. Because all the slaves are naked, obviously. And Fitz is just like, I've never seen one that big before. And Rudy thinks, since Fitz is the guy talking about the woman with the breasts, no, she's talking about the penis man. And he's like, you'll experience things. And she's like, you've had experience. Again, this idiot does not realize this is your hometown sweetheart. Of course, she's gonna be like, you've had sex before, Rudy. But yes, so they're trying to find someone, and again, Fitz makes the suggestion. Which the introduction of Fitz and Zanoba is pretty interesting because Zanoba gets a little bit high and mighty, and Rudy has to kick him in the knee to kind of bow a bit, saying, "Look, this was Fitz's idea. Be cool." Which then makes him. I love that dynamic where it's like, because of how good Rudy is at sculpting, because Zanoba is a figure freak. Like, he's naked when he's rubbing against his statues, and Rudy has even admitted to us that he has been done some things once or twice looking at a figure. Rudeus, I get it, that was your first life, but my God, I I don't king shame, but I cannot relate to that. Anyway, going back on target here, Fitz suggests that they get someone young because Rudy has to teach this person how to do magic. And Rudy said, well, isn't our magical level determined already at birth? Fitz, being super smart, doing tons of research already, saying, well, my master kind of proved that wrong because my master started very young, and it's probably when you're younger, you know, and you form up magic and stuff, your capacity gets higher. And Rudy's like, okay, that makes sense. Like around 5 or 6, because he says I started doing casting at 2 or 3, which he was already freaking strong at 2 or 3. So starting young increases your capacity, much like anything. When you learn something younger, it's a lot easier to do, like languages, right? I digress. So they're looking for someone younger, like 5-ish, maybe a dwarf, because dwarves have high dexterity. And of course, they talk to I guess you call him slave master. And the slave master couldn't find anyone that young except for one young girl whose parents were all sold into slavery because they had to pay debts. But she's very malnutrition, so maybe if he feeds her, she'll be up and running. And when they get to these cages are dingy, they're open, it's just sad looking. And you get this dwarven girl. Now Rudy speaks, I'm gonna assume he speaks all the languages. Because once dude opens the cage and she's hurt, Fitz heals her a little bit. Cute little orangish red hair girl. And he talks to her in her own language. And she's not really responding. And dude's like, yeah, I can't really suggest you get her because, of her health and everything. Pardon me. Rudy looks in her eyes and says, she has the eyes of a hopeless person who longs for death. And Snow's like, Master, have you met many people that look like that before? And he's like, I have a long time ago. And him and Fitz look very uncomfortable. And as we know, and as Rudy confirms, he's talking about himself. He had those same eyes when the Eris thing happened, wanted to die, didn't really long for anything. He said he could bring her salvation, right? But he can't really force his will on her. And she's not responding. She's not speaking when he speaks to her. And right when the dude's going to try to whip her, he goes, then you have to look at the dude, just halt him. And he says to her, do you want to die? I can help put you out of your misery, but the choice is yours. Because he can't force her to live by taking her as a slave. He knows that because he couldn't be forced to live. And it kind of is a little bit appalling to me that Rudy is suggesting euthanasia instead of going I can't force this person to live, but I can give them something to live for, right? That's such an he's been through so much, and I sympathize with him so much. But dude, for you to have slowly pulled yourself up, you're not where you should be, but you're far from where you used to be. So to not go, well, I'll give this person something to live for, right? I'll make your life a little bit easier. I can't fix everything, but I can try to make things easier. As opposed to going, oh, I'm going to go ahead and, euthanasia. Let's do that. What? What? And he has his hand around her tiny little neck. And she starts speaking. She finally speaks. And she says, I don't want to die. Our title. And for him, he smiles, puts his cloak around her. That's enough to make Fitz smile because Fitz, she gets it. And he says, I don't want to die is not the same as I want to live, but it's good enough. Which, on a philosophical level, which I would love to debate one day, it isn't the same thing. Not wanting to die is not the same thing as wanting to live. Because when you want to live, you're trying to enjoy life. You're trying to reach a goal. You're trying to find some fulfillment, that type of thing. Not wanting to die is just kind of basic survival, but it's enjoyable. Now, this cute little girl, they get her to some place to eat, right? And she's just mama, and Fitz is being, I'm just gonna call her being mama Sylphie right now, wiping her mouth. And they need to find out what her name is. So they ask her. She is the child of Bazaar of the Iron Hills and the daughter of Lily Witta of the beautiful snowy fields. And she's just kind of looking down, holding her hands. And Rudy repeats this out loud. And Fitz goes, dwarves don't get a name until 7. So they're going to name her. And I love that Fitz says, she's a girl. Let's give her a cute name. And I love it. Thank you, Sylphie, for being there. And you have Zanoba because she's going to be hanging out with Zanoba, right? Rude's like, all right, what do you want to call Zanoba? Julius. After my younger brother who I accidentally killed. My baby brother, Julius. Well, that's a boy's name. So let's call it Juliet. I'm okay with that. He tells her, we're going to call you Juliet. She says Julie twice. I think she loves the name Julie. She likes it. It's a good name. Looks like things are going to work out. Rudy teaches her magic during the day. She helps clean up around Zanoba. She stays with him, right? So Zanoba's like the master, but Rudy is the grand master. And it's cute when Zanoba's throwing things. She's trying to hold it with her dress. I love that. I know they're going to treat this little girl right. But it's so frustrating to be like, you went to a slave market, Rudy, when you were 10, 11, 12 or whatever. You fought to free Dodian slaves, beast children slaves. And actually, the next episode is called, the very, very next episode, I'm sorry, I want to get this name right. And of course, the phone notes wants to give me guff, right? The very next episode is called The Kidnapping and Confinement of Beast Girls. So here's the thing. Is slavery okay? Because her family, in order to pay off debts, put themselves into slavery. And this doesn't feel like an indentured servitude situation because they're all split up. Spoiler. I'm not going to spoil her whole backstory of her people, but spoiler for that, right? It feels as if this is slavery. And you can see why I would have an issue with that, right? And if you can't see that, get the hell off my channel. But, okay, fantasy world, fine, Conan and stuff like that. But we've already established that kidnapping and enslaving other races is bad. So does that mean slavery, when it is voluntary, is still an acceptable thing, even when they are in these horrible conditions? I don't know what to make of it. It's kind of fascinating, but at the same time, it's like, Rudy, you saved slaves. Why are you not going, all right, I'm going to come up with a plan how to free all these people by the time I'm finished with my magical education here? I guess Rudy isn't Luffy. Can't free everybody. Even in One Piece, they couldn't free all the slaves in One Piece. So who knows? Maybe it's a problem to be solved later, which then I can understand. But this was a really good episode. Like when this episode ended and it went straight to the ending, I was like, whoa, wait, that's it? Again, I think I had this issue. What was I watching? Was it when I was watching Bleach? Or was it Pokemon? One of the things I watched this weekend, I was fascinated by the fact that I was startled that it was the end. Because watching this and just falling into it, like, oh, that no, it was last week's episode 1071 of One Piece, where I said, wow, that's it. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. And now you're making me go, oh, I can't wait for next week. And so the little girl, she's not a little beast girl, she's a little dwarf girl. She's in the ending. We were given flashes of her in episode 4 when we were being told about Rudy having to travel to the renowned University of Magic. All in all, great episode. I hope nothing happens to Juliet. No, don't let anything happen to Juliet. She is a precious little orange. That this is I'm counting this as your first daughter, all right? This is your first kid, and I'm counting it as that. So, another interesting thing to note, Fitz can do the incantation with magic too, right? She tries to make the clay figure, like doll figure that Rudy makes, and he just does it. It's like clay, rough outline figure, fully articulate figure, and she can't do it. I guess he is just that skilled. I like it. Looks like he's only teaching her earth magic, which makes sense because you're using her to help Zanoba when it comes to making the figures that he's probably gonna rub across his body like a weirdo. But I like this. I can see in the future perhaps Rudy having these people in his own little, I don't like his own little town maybe. See, Rudy seems like he's destined for big things. So I do hope that the anime ending is different from the web novel and the light novel. I want a different ending. Well, different ending from what I know is supposed to happen, but I digress. Great episode. My initial thought is 4. I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5. It was, and I'm going there because not only do I get some good exposition, I get some good interaction where it's like, come on, Rudy, you're almost there. You have to know who this person is, right? I get it. She has white hair. You haven't seen her in, oh man, you're 16, 17 now. Oh my God, it's been 7 years. That is a long time. Like he hasn't forgotten her, but that's a long time. People can look different, especially with the, white hair due to trauma. So come on, Rudy. I believe in you, dog. All right. Great episode. Still kind of confused on the whole slavery thing, but I think we know at least Rudy was willing to get this little girl out, and they're gonna treat her very very well. That I was spoiled. They would treat her very very well, and if they don't treat her very very well in anime, I will be upset. I'll be upset. Don't let anything happen to her. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. But hey, let me know what you think of the episode right there in the description down below. Not the description, I meant the comments. I write the description, you write the comments. Please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of more Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episodes. This is a great anime. I'm telling you. I have suggested this to a person who doesn't particularly care for anime. And when you think anime, you're thinking like the Dragon Balls, the typical shonen stuff. This is such good world building and such heavy reliance on characters. I would suggest this to other people. Don't know if you should have your kids watch this, but I would suggest this to other people. Let me know. Please, as always, let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate all of your feedback. All right? Please be good, be blessed, wash those hands, be good to yourselves, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk, all right? Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and you're staying safe out there. Realize that you might feel hopeless, much like how Juliet has felt hopeless. And you might think there's no way out, there's no salvation. I'm here to tell you that there is, all right? And the salvation is reaching out to somebody else, right? Sometimes it is enough to go, you know what? I don't want this to be over. I just need someone. There is a reason to hold on. All right. reach out to someone, talk to somebody. There's someone who would rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I will talk to you. Just again in that description right there, my social media is in there. Give me a follow, send me a message. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Just don't be a jerk and we'll be good. All right. All right, guys. Well, till next time. Of course, I am Shane and I will gladly see you next time. Just, man, it's touching, isn't it?